You have enough light, Michal? So, page 299, I believe. Is that correct, Michal? Have enough room? There are cups on the other table, so if you want to have some water, cups. Okay, koev liyot menutak mitov. It hurts to be detached from the good. Right? So, vayashar v'hatov shebanu. So Rav Kook says, the good that we have within us, Rav Shlomo adds, Ksat hatov v'yosher sheyesh b'libotenu, the little bit of honesty and good that we have in our hearts. Halohu ba mehata'amatenu el hakol. It comes from fitting with everything, from being part of everything. Ki anachnu kshurim im klal habriya, because we're connected with all of creation. Ve'ech efshar liyot karua min hakol. How can you possibly be torn away from the all, from everything? Klamar,
What's the difference between menutak and karua?
They're synonymous. Okay. Menutak is detached, karua is torn away. Klamar, im yesh li et ha'ara hazot. If I have this illumination, we're talking about Joshua's illumination, are we talking about where we get it, this flash of realizing like, wow, everything is like really, really beautiful, right? So if we have this illumination, when I'm mitbonen b'atzmi and I start meditating or thinking deeply about myself and the status that I'm at, and I see that I'm not part of that, of all that good, of the good, it really hurts not to be part of it, right? Once at a concert, Shlomo was having a really hard time getting the people to get up and sing and dance. And at one point he stops, he says, I know that when you're going to go home, you're going to regret that you didn't sing and that you didn't dance. So why not do it now? You know, if something so beautiful is going on, right? What are you waiting for? Right? Rabotai, atem choshvim shekorev lachshov shani ra? You think that it hurts to think that I'm bad? Nachon, c'est korev. Yes, it does hurt. Aval yesh mashu korev yoter, but there's something that hurts even more. Kishani sam lev lekach shani lo chelek mehaolam hanifla shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When I realize when I pay attention to the fact that I'm not being a part of the amazing world that a Kodesh Baruch Hu created. The Mashal, for example. אם אני מאוד אוהב אישה מסוימת, let's say I love this woman very much, והיא אומרת לי, and she says to him, אני רוצה שתדע שאתה מאוד רע, אתה פשוט אדם רע. She says, you know, I want you to know you're a really bad guy. It's just plain and simple, you're a bad person. זה כואב, right? It hurts. It's okay, no. So that hurts, you know, that you, when somebody criticizes you this way. אבל אם היא אומרת, but if she tells me, אין לי קשר איתך, I have no connection with you. אני מצטערת, I'm sorry, זה כואב הרבה יותר. That hurts a lot more, right? In other words, the feeling of disconnected hurts a lot more than feeling that I'm not so good. ההערה הראשונה שמראה לי אני גרוע, the first illumination that Rav Kook speaks about that shows me that כמה אני גרוע, how bad I am, ושאני לא כמו שאני צריך להיות, and that I'm not being the way I should be, גורמת לכאב שמניע אותי להתעלות. That causes me to have an experience of pain that will cause me to move forward and upward. אבל התשובה העליונה, but the highest level tshuva that we're talking about, שהיא ההערה שמראה לי כמה הכל נפלא, this illumination, that's this flash that shows me how beautiful everything is, ושאני חי בעולם, and that I'm living in this world, this beautiful world, אבל אני לא חלק ממנו, and I'm not a part of it, גורמת לכאב גדול הרבה יותר, that causes much more pain, much greater pain. ואיך אפשר להיות קרוע מן הכל, ואיך אפשר לסבול את הכחייה, how can you tolerate this rip, feeling like ripped away from the rest of the world, את הניתוק מן הכל, how can you tolerate the pain of feeling detached from everything? פירור משונה, a crumb that is different. כלומר, פירור משוגע, meaning to say, says Rav Shlomo, this is like a ridiculous crumb. העולם כל כך יפה ואתה פירור מעוות. The world is so beautiful and you're just living your life like you're a separated crumb from everything. מופרד כאבק דק שכלא נחשב, separated like a piece of fine dust, a particle of fine dust of no importance. כלומר, אתה חושב שיש לך משהו איכותי. You think that you've got some kind of good quality, characteristics or something, or that you're living a life of good quality. אין לך כלום, you don't have nothing. אתה משול לאבק חסר ערך. You're like a piece, like some dust that is of no value. In other words, there are people that their ideal is to go somewhere off, away from everybody, right? Like, for example, in Tekoa. You've been to Tekoa? You saw all the caves there in the mountains, right? So they say that, you know, the early Christian monks used to stay there and live in the caves and meditate and so on. And that was how they lived their holy life, right? Some people, their ideal is to have like a little island of their own, separate from everybody. Like, you know, have your little island with your skidoo and motorboat and this and that and so on. and that's your life, right? So you think you got something, you got something that of a good quality. So Rav Kook is saying, the way Rav Shlomo is explaining it, you have nothing because you're not participating in the great beauty of the world of the beautiful world that God created. Right? So when you have this sense of it, of the all of the entire picture, and you realize that I better be part of it, and if you're not part of it, it's going to be really, really painful. So and this, this relates to so many stories, but just to relate it to the one that we've spoken about a couple of times in the past few days, the story with the Rabbi Rav Zusha, where he says the only thing that he's afraid of is when Hashem is going to ask him, Zusha, why weren't you Zusha? In other words, all the gifts and talents that Hashem has given you, right? Why did Hashem give it to you? Hashem gave it to you for you to be part of the world, right? For you to make your contribution to the beauty of everything. That's why Hashem gave it to you. Hashem didn't give it to you that you should go and isolate yourself, right? We have a mitzvah of Kedoshim Tihiyu, you shall be holy, right? If you remember the pasuk, it starts out, Vaydaber Moshe el kol adat b'nei Yisrael. Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to the entire community of Israel. V'yomer aleim, and he said to them, Kedoshim Tihiyu, you shall be holy, ki kadosh ani Hashem Elokeichem. Because I, Hashem, your God, am holy. So the Netziv points out that, everybody knows that Rashi stops on this and everybody stops on this point. Normally, when Moshe Rabbeinu was transmitting Torah, how would he do it? He'd receive it from Hashem. Then he would teach it to Aaron and his sons. Then he would teach it again to the 70 elders. And then they would go ahead and disseminate the information and the knowledge to the people. But there were a few occasions where Moshe Rabbeinu gathered everybody together so that everybody was present during that teaching. So Rashi says at the beginning of Parshat Kedoshim, Rashi says that, in the words, El Kol Kahal Yisrael, so Rashi says, Melamed shenemra parsha zo behakel, this parsha was taught to the entire community. Everybody was present. So the Netziv says, why was that important? Because there are many other important mitzvahs that we got in the normal manner of transmission, right? So why is it so important that this parsha had to be said in community? So Rashi says there, Mipnei she'rov gufei Torah tluyin ba, a very large portion of the essential concepts and mitzvahs of the Torah are in this parsha. So everybody had to be there. Says the Netziv that there's another message here. The message is that Kedoshim Tihiyu, the word Kadosh, what's the basic meaning of Kadosh? Speak up.
Separate.
You want your mother to hear you, don't you?
Of course.
Okay, I can put the camera in. Separate. Lacht. When I was in school, I didn't want my parents to hear what I was doing. But he's a good boy.
Not in school.
Huh?
Different kind of school.
Yeshiva.
It's also 2 generations later.
Anyway, so Kadosh means separate. Like when you say, Harei at Mekudeshet li, what does that mean? Literally? You are separated unto me. Literally it means you're separated unto me. You're going into an exclusive relationship with me, which now will not allow you to be in any similar relationship with any other man. Right? So, Kedoshim Tihiyu, so you might think that kadosh means, oh, okay, everybody go find yourself a cave and live a separate life, right? No. It's given, the mitzvah is given behakel in the context of the entire community. You be holy in the midst of your nation, in amongst your people, right? In other words, yeah, you have sometimes you have a need to go and do a retreat. You know, I understand Philadelphia, a lot of people do retreats, right? And no, you know where Pottstown is, by the way? That's where our wedding was. Julie and I got married in Pottstown. Shlomo was reading the exhibit. It says, you know, Khan, he sees written Pottstown, and he turns to someone and says, Pottstown? He says, yeah, Pottstown. Pottstown. By the way, it's next to Fayetteville, in case you didn't know, look on the map. And then there's a third one. I could just imagine that some Yid, you know, was on some kind of naming board, you know, and figured, I'm going to give it to these Amish. Anyway, so the yeah, you need to go on a retreat every so often, but don't retreat from the world, don't retreat from life, because that's not what God intended. You're here to be part of it all. You're here to contribute your talents and your gifts and so on, right? So somebody who wants to separate from the world, right? But for example, oh, this is not 100% conclusive, but you've heard of the Essenes, right? The Dead Sea Scrolls and so on. Like they were living out there down by Yam HaMelech in the caves and so on. And there's question as to whether they were doing that because they were being persecuted by others. Apparently, their calculation of the calendar was that they claimed that everybody else was keeping Shabbos on the wrong day. So they had to separate because, according to them, we weren't keeping Shabbos, and on the day that we were keeping Shabbos, they were working, you know, and they were keeping Shabbos the next day. But in any case, whatever the story is, you understand, separating from everybody, this is not the way. And if you think that's the way, it means you have not yet had that illumination of how beautiful the world is and how much you're a part of it. And if you have that illumination and you feel detached from it, then that really hurts. What?
Not sure where you hold on this or if you want to address it, but what about like cola?
Maybe I'll email it instead of address it. Yeah, but what about cola?
Many people would think that, you know, living a life in yeshiva kind of lifestyle and bubble is kind of isolating yourself off from the world, as opposed to, you know, being.
So is being a researcher in a geology lab.
Right? You need to. That's why you need to have both, obviously. So one is, you know, as a geologist who davens every day. I'm not a geologist, but someone who davens every day.
But you understand what I'm getting at. You understand? In other words, the being in Kook, first of all, you saw in the Siddur before Baruch Shlomo, we have the Shem Yichud Kutsha Brichu Shchinte, Liachto Shem Yutke Bevavke Yichud Shlim B'Shem Kol Yisrael. Understand? You can be in a room with 10,000 people and be isolated. You can be by yourself in your house and not be isolated. Right? The question is, in your mind, in your heart, where are you? Are you b'shem kol Yisrael? Are you doing it in the name of all of Israel? Do you feel yourself a part of it, or this is just like your own little private geschäft? Okay? That's one thing. The second element, actually more than a second, okay. At least 1 million nanoseconds. Okay, so. Now, the Lubavitch Rebbe's shita, but in Lubavitch, the Rebbe didn't allow the Rebbe to be in Kotel for more than 2 years, unless they were like mamish being trained to become a toisik. And when people said, well, what about learning Kol Torah Kula? So he said, yeah, you have an obligation to learn Kol Torah Kula, but in the meantime, there's thousands and tens of thousands of Jews who don't even know what Aleph is and don't even know what it means to be Jewish. So you're going to have to sacrifice your knowing Kol Torah Kula and go out there and learn Aleph with the children and the adults, and go out there and can help these people connect with Yiddishkeit. So the fact of the matter is that even if you're sitting and learning all the time, for example, on Fridays, you have an obligation to, to come home and help prepare for Shabbos. Right? In other words, it's not like so when you say kollel, it doesn't mean that the person who's in kollel is not involved with the world. He's doing. The Mishnah says in the Sechtes Megillah, the Mishnah says that that there are different dates for reading the Megillah. You ever learned that? Yeah. So a big city always reads on the 14th, unless it has a wall around it from the time of Yeshua, it reads on the 15th. So the Mishnah says, Ezohi Ir Gedolah, what's considered to be a big city? Do you remember? Kol Sheyesh Ba Asara Batlanim. There are 10 people that are not working, that are basically supported by the community, and they're sitting in the Besmedrash, and they're there always. There's always a million there. There's always people, a million of people there.
That's not the definition of a batman.
No, but that's not the folky street definition. But batel means he's not working. Okay? So the definition of a large city is a city that is large enough that it can support a core group of people whose job it is to learn and daven the whole time. Okay? In other words, just like lahavdil in the secular world, you always want to have a certain percentage of your scientists not working directly, or a certain percentage of your doctors not working directly with patients, but rather doing research, right? You want to have a certain percentage of your scientists and chemists who are not going out there making toothpaste and bombs, but rather doing research, right? To advance the knowledge. Likewise, you always have to have in your community, you have to have a certain percentage of people that are devoting their lives to just learning and davening.
Agreed. The key word is a certain percentage.
Right. So
Everyone
you
wants
got. Yeah, you understood me.
Yeah.
The Revolution story?
Yeah.
How does that fit into this?
The story, right? In other words, let's say Hashem has given you talents, right? And with these talents, you're here to make a significant contribution to the overall well-being of the world, right? If you don't do that, then you're not being true to yourself. Okay? Rav Zusha was a big tzaddik. Don't worry about him. You understand? But he was saying, like, in other words, let's say, for example, if you know that you're talented to be a teacher in Cheder, you've got this amazing talent. You could, like, mamish, teach kids and turn them on and do something. And you say, lawyers make a lot more money than teachers, right? They do, right? And you say, well, I'm not going to go into chinuch because I want to make money, right? Are you being true to yourself? Are you being true to the talents that Hashem gave you? No. Understand? So like, like Hashem says, like Zusha says, I'm only afraid of one question. I just hope that I did what I was supposed to do. Understand? And that's brought from you learn the Tibot Shalom sometimes from the start of it. So the first piece in this week's parasha, he speaks about that. Ki tetzei lamilchama al oivecha. When you go out to war against your enemy. So the Pashup Shat is talking to Am Yisrael going to war, right? But it's in this form, it's explained, it's also talking to each individual that when you're coming down to this world and know that when your neshama is coming down to this world, it's coming down to engage in war against your enemy, against your Yetzer Hara. And against your Yetzer Hara doesn't mean just the Yetzer Hara that says, hey, let's go have some bacon and eggs for breakfast. Or let's tell a lie. That's also a Yetzer Hara. But then there's a far more subtle Yetzer Hara. It's the Yetzer Hara that suggests to you that you do something other than what you're really meant to be doing. Now, how do you know? How do I know what I'm meant to be doing in this world? You understand? So he's saying that when you come up and we're going to come back upstairs, so the angels are going to say, oh, you holy man, you learned Torah, you did mitzvahs, and you did all those things. But did you do what you were supposed to do? Or did you just hide in kollel? Or did you just hide in the lab? Or did you just, right, hide in sports? Or whatever, right? So how are you supposed to know what it is that you were supposed to do?
That's your question.
Huh?
That's everybody's question.
It's a big question. So how are you supposed to know? Just knowing the question is doesn't help me. I need to know the answer. So how do I find out what the answer is? So it says the P.11 says, when you realize that there's if there's something particular that is your biggest struggle, like let's say for example, it's your biggest struggle to not to speak Lashon Hara. Kosher food is no problem. Davening 3 times a day is no problem. Learning 10 hours a day is no problem. Lashon Hara, whoa, that's my problem, right? Or let's say Lashon Hara is no problem. Putting on tefillin is no problem. Keeping kosher, ooh, that's a problem, you know? Or let's say you're doing everything right, but the way I'm looking at people, the way you're looking at people, are you looking with good eyes or with bad eyes, right? That's a difficult one, right? So whatever happens to be your particular, unique, personal struggle, whether it's a mitzvah or whether it's some higher level or whatever it is, whatever it is that's the most difficult for you to do, most likely that's why your neshama came to the world. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to marry somebody that you can't stand. Don't worry.
I did that.
Right? That's not what it's about, right? It doesn't mean that you go and just look like, oh, it's very difficult for me to meditate in a thorn bush. I'm going to spend my life teaching myself how to meditate in a thorn bush. Forget it. There are, by the way, there is a severe Christian group that's what they do. We're talking about we're talking about changes on your inner changes in your being, That's what we're talking about.
The person's tafkid change.
Yeah, it could be that you fulfilled your tafkid up to a certain point of your life, and now you have a new tafkid. You know, the Yetzer Hara can be pretty multitasking, right? That's why these computers are called Apple, because the Yetzer Hara is multitasking, right? You don't know what I'm talking about?
What's Apple?
The computer.
So how's that?
It's a DAS. Okay. And when Apple came out, initially their big selling point, one of them was Apple and Atari, that they were multitasking. It could be doing a bunch of things at the same time. Anyway,
So how does that fit in with the DAS?
because I'm just saying, the whole thing is the Yetzer Hara, right?
The person has
The Yetzer Hara is he can come into a one room and there's four of us sitting here, and the Yetzer Hara can be working on all four of us at the same time in different ways, right? What?
The person has fulfilled. I've always thought the person fulfills tafkid for the reason for
Right. Right. You know the story about this guy, this man comes to the Kook Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, I've learned Kol HaTorah Kula. I've done everything I'm supposed to do. And the Kook Rebbe says to go home and say goodbye to your family. You're obviously leaving the world in the next half an hour. She said, no, I still have a few things to do. You know? Okay?
Well, Kotzker went into isolation. That's a different kind of
There's a lot of speculation about what that was all about. It's not-
doubt. I mean, it's what-
No, I'm just saying that the Ishmael left him because of that after a number of years.
burned the whole fire.
He right. So what am I supposed to tell you? I don't know. No, I'm just saying. No. I'm just saying no. Listen, if somebody wants to speculate on something, they have to be really honest and know what is the basis of my speculation. You know what I mean? Is it my stomach? Is it my brain? Is it my heart? Am I projecting myself onto somebody else? Or am I speculating on the basis of some real good information and I'm just sort of like working with that? So it's not something that the Hasidim really wrote about. I know that Elie Wiesel tried to interpret the Kotzker in one way, and Heschel also wrote a 2-volume biography on the Kotzker, right? And it actually was originally written in Yiddish, in 2 volumes. I used to have both volumes. Somehow or other, one volume disappeared, and the Passion for Truth is an abridgment of those 2 Yiddish volumes. So, was that the ideal? Obviously not. So some people try to interpret it in some kind of psychological way, this and that. So I don't give that much credence to a lot of the interpretations, because it could have been something totally different from what you think it was. Okay. Okay, so Mitoch HaKara, so we're at the bottom of the page. So the point was, you can have the fanciest villa on your own private island, if you're not connected with the world, if you're not connected with the universe that God created, and you don't see yourself as a part of it, so then you're garnished. ומתוך הכרה זו, שהיא הכרה אלוקית באמת, and from this awareness of the greatness and the beauty of the world, which is a true awareness of God, כלומר, זוהי הבנה אלוקית אמיתית. In other words, when you have that realization, like, wow, it's so great, it's so beautiful, and I better be part of it, that is a real divine awareness. Page 300. אנחנו חושבים שצריך לעשות תשובה על עבירות. We think that we have to do tshuva just on our transgressions. למשל, אם אכלתי אוכל לא כשר לפני שנתיים, if I ate something not kosher 2 years ago, or נסעתי בשבת, or if I traveled on Shabbos, and of course I have to do tshuva on that. But people think that that's the only thing you have to do tshuva on. זה ממש לא העניין, but that's not the עניין. כן, זה חשוב, אבל זהו רק השלב הראשון. Of course it's important to do tshuva on those things, but that's only the first stage of tshuva. השאלה, the first stage is, okay, now I ate something I shouldn't have eaten, so I'm sorry, God, right? השאלה האמיתית היא, the true question is, האם אתה חלק מהאור הנפלא שמאיר בעולם? Are you fulfilling your role as a part of the amazing divine light that's filling the world? Or in different words, האם אתה חלק מרצונו של הקדוש ברוך הוא? Are you a part of God's will? זוהי התגלות אמיתית. When you have that inspiration, that's a true divine revelation. So when you have that ba'at shuvah, then that's followed by tshuva. And if Shlomo adds me'ahava, כלומר, כשיש הערה כזו, אזי החזרה אל השם מלאה באהבה. So when you have that kind of revelation of the beauty of the world, and that you should be a part of it, and you do tshuva, that tshuva is like, that tshuva is, excuse me, is filled with love. And then, if I'm doing tshuva on some kind of transgression that I did, or that I didn't do a mitzvah, and my concern is, I want to avoid being in trouble, and I want to get my rewards, etc. So there's no love there. That's you. I'm concerned with myself, and so on. But when the tshuva is the result of, like, wow, the beauty, the universe is so beautiful. All the people, all of life, were part of this big symphony. And I better pick up my violin and participate, right? So that's, and I say, oh, that's a different tshuva. That's a tshuva of, like, I love you, God. I want to be part of it all. בחיי הפרט, בחיים האישיים, ובחיי הכלל, in the life of the community, בחיי העולם כולו, in the name of the entire community. So, לסיכום, to sum all this up, נניח שאדם עשה תשובה, let's say a person did tshuva, we're in the middle of 300. לפני שנה הוא אכל אוכל לא כשר, ועכשיו הוא רק אוכל סרדינים. A year ago he was eating tray for food, and now all he's eating is sardines. זה נחמד. It's cute that that's his tshuva. אבל למעשה הוא לא שינה דבר בהתנהגותו. But practically speaking, he hasn't actually changed anything in his behavior. אין כאן שינוי מהותי, there's no substantive change. הוא עדיין לא הפך לאיש אלוקי, he still hasn't become a divinely inspired person. Before he was drowning in the manure, and now he's sitting on it. You like that parable, Josh? Right? Before, when he was doing the negative things, he was drowning in the manure. He's done his tshuva, he stopped to do the bad things, and he's doing good things. But so long as he hasn't changed, so now he's sitting on top of the manure instead of being right in it. He still hasn't responded to that vision of the beauty of the world to serve Hashem and be a part of it all. Oh. So, Lifnei Kain, so Lumat Zot, in distinction to that, Adam Shezachar Lahara Shemeira Lo Kama Tov Hashem. Kama Tov Hashem Yesh Ba'olam. When a person is illuminated with an awareness of how much good Hashem, how much godly good is present in the world, Kama Metikut, how much sweetness there is, Kama Havat Kama Hava Yesh B'chol Davar, how much love there is in everything, V'nocheach Shehu Lo Chelek Mikol Ele, and he realizes that he's not a part of all of that, Sovel Mikevim Noraim, he suffers from tremendous pain. הדבר דומה למצב שבו חטאתי כלפי מישהו שאני מאוד אוהב. עכשיו אני מנותק ממנו. This is similar to having done a transgression against somebody that you love very much, and now you're detached from him. זה מצב, זה מצב כואב יותר מהחטא עצמו. This kind of situation is more painful than the transgression itself. וצריך להיות חלק מעולמו של הקדוש ברוך הוא. I must be a part of God's world. חלק מהטוב הנפלא זה I must fulfill my part in being a part of this amazing good stuff. Okay, we're going to stop over here. We're going to continue with Hashem on Sunday. Okay? Please remember we're on page 300. Okay, sorry for